The two stories that I believe go hand in hand with each other, whose characters relate a lot together, are The Swimmer and Fences. Both characters have such a big ego, and which is why you can learn so much from them. Um, each story has characters that lose everything in the long run. Um, each story has life lessons that the readers can learn to prevent from losing everything by analyzing the situations that occurred in those stories and turn things around. Um, in The Swimmer and Fences, they both start out with everything going well. In The Swimmer, we see that Nettie, he's having a great time. It states, the sun was hot. Nettie Merrill sat by green water, one hand in it, one around a glass of gin. He seemed to have a special slenderness of youth. While he was far from young, he had slid down his banister and given the bronze backset Aphrodite on the hall table a smack as he jogged toward the smell of coffee. This first opening to the story is like this guy's happy. He's going to get coffee. He's energetic. He's has a young attitude. When you think young attitude, you think happy, energetic, ready to take on the world. In Fences, we see Troy and his family getting along. He's with Bono at home. They're having drinks. They're laughing. Troy's getting along with Rose. He's making comments, very flirtatious, and you sense a love in the air. Now, since these people have such high egos, um, it's hard for them to take a step back. But the biggest lesson that we could learn from this is when you notice something going wrong, because these people are doing so great right now, when we notice something's going wrong, let's take a step back and realize what's causing this. Now, in The Swimmer, the first thing we notice is when he goes to the next pool. Each pool is a stepping stone in his life. So, in the beginning, his first stepping stone was with his wife at the Westchester pool, getting along, drinking. The next stepping stone is at the next pool, when a Ned Bunker states, "Oh, look who's here! What a marvelous surprise!" When Lucinda said you couldn't come, I thought I'd die. Now, this is something that when you hear that, why is Lucinda saying that he can't come? Obviously, there's some controversy between Nettie and Lucinda. So this is where Nettie should take a step back and realize, okay, what's going on here? How can I change this negativity and turn into positivity? Let's make this turnaround now before it's too late. And because of his ego, he doesn't do that. Even though he has an addiction, there's still you can still realize through other people. In Fences, they do a great job because in Fences, Bono realizes that something's going on. Sometimes it's hard for us to see things, and we need to ask other people for help. So when you see that first negativity starting to happen, each that stepping stone, that negativity, ask someone else and be like, "Hey, what's going on? Why is this happening?" Bono is a great point about taking a step back and asking for help from others because he sees Troy's downfall in life when he brings up the girl, and Troy denies it. He doesn't even want to talk about it. That's his ego talking. We need to put our ego aside and realize that if I could take this head on right now, I could turn things around and make it back to where I was or even better. Because if you keep going downhill, it's just going to keep getting worse and worse and make it harder to come back from. Now, in the end of The Swimmer, after all those negative stepping stones, it states the house was locked. He shouted, pounded on the door, tried to force it with his shoulder, and then looking in at the windows, saw the place was empty. This is because he lost everything. He didn't put his ego aside. He didn't, even though he had the addiction of drinking, you still notice things aren't going well. And he had many chances and realized that just he wasn't as happy as he was in the beginning. Things changed. Now, in Fences, Troy tells Rose about the other girl, and even Rose gives him another chance. And, like, he loves Rose. He even says that. He has a choice, and he doesn't make the smart decision of picking one or the other. And this is creating negative energy in his life and creating negativity. You see, he stops hanging out with Bono as much. Bono doesn't want to be around that. And that's a problem. And you need to take that, look at it, and be like, how can I change this? If you can't see it, ask for help. That's something in these stories that these main characters lack that we can learn from and be different from them. Um, in the end of Fences, he loses the woman from the childbirth that he was um, having an affair with and has a baby to take care of and asks Rose to take care of her. Rose states that she'll take care of the baby because he's innocent, but that you're going to be a womanless man. Now he's lost the other woman who gave birth. He's lost Rose. Corey's out of the house, and he has a baby to take care of. Now, in both these, we see that all this negativity turned into such a bad thing that they can't get out of it now. They had so many points in these stories in this play where they could have turned things around and made things for the better, but they didn't. And now they're in such a rough patch because of their egos and their addiction that they're at loss and they have nowhere to go. They could come back from, but it's going to be so much harder than if they would have just stopped when he was talking to Bono, when Troy was talking to Bono, or when Nettie realized that something was wrong with Lucinda. It would have been a lot easier if we tackled things earlier than later. Yeah, that's it. Thank you, Professor, so much for the year. You were a great teacher. It was a great time in all of your classes, so I want to thank you. I'm taking your class for English 2 next semester, so I'll see you next semester. Happy holidays.